Hey guys, so I want to show you guys how you can graph the equation of a line by just looking at your slope-intercept form, okay? So if you guys recall, this is one of the most iconic equations for a line, so this is called the slope-intercept form. And if you guys are in my class, if you guys are in my class, you guys know that I talk about how creative mathematicians are, right? And how their naming process is very creative, right? So, of course, this equation does have your slope and your y-intercept in it. That's why they call it the slope-intercept, right? So, all right, let's get started. So let's go through a couple different examples. Let's go ahead and start with something simple. So let's say we have an equation y equals negative 2x plus 1, okay? Or you know what, let's make it a little more simple. Let's go ahead and make that a positive 2x plus 1, okay? So if we know that this is our y-intercept, this makes things a lot easier, especially because we also know our slope, okay? So if we know what our y-intercept is, why don't we just go to it, right? So of course our y-intercept is always going to be on the y-axis, right? That's why it's called the y-intercept, because that is the point at which your line crosses the y-axis. So we know it's going to cross here, so I'm going to go to positive 1 on the y-axis. So we'll go up 1. Let's just say that's 1 right here. And we'll go ahead and plot our first point there, okay? So boom, we've successfully plotted 1 point. All we need now is just one more point to finish graphing this equation, okay? So in order to do that, what I usually do is I use the slope right here, okay? So what I'm going to do, and if you guys recall that your slope is equal to your rise over your run, right? Sorry, I'm still getting used to this pen. So if we know that our slope is equal to 2, we can technically write that as a 2 over 1, right? Because 2 divided by 1 is technically 2, right? So we now know what our rise is going to be, and we now know what our run is going to be. So let's go ahead and use that to find our point. So what you can do is, since we know our first point, and you know this is on the point, and you know the slope, what you could do is you could start here, and from here we're going to go up 2, because that's what our rise tells us to do. We're going to go to the right one, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go 1, 2 up, and we're going to go to the right one, okay? And that's it. That's our new point. This is our next point, okay? And you could continue to do that if you wanted to. You could go another 1, 2, 1, and here is your next point, okay? So you could do that as much as you want. Honestly, I always just go for 2 points because it is the easiest thing to do and the fastest, especially if you're on a time crunch. So let's see if I could work this. I don't think I know how. I do have no idea how to do this, so I'm gonna just go back. Alright, so I'm just gonna trace it by hand. Sorry if it looks ugly, but pretty much we have 3 points. We can just graph this line. Oh, sorry. Okay, so let me just... Okay, well, you guys get the idea, right? If you had a ruler, you could probably trace that a lot better than I did. So that's our first line. This line is the one that we just went over, 2x plus 1. So let's go over a couple more examples just so you guys get a better idea of what I'm doing here, okay? So let's say we had another equation, y equals 2, um, let's say negative 1/2 x minus 3, okay? So notice here we have all minus signs in this case, right? They're not all positive like this other one. And we also have a fraction. But don't fear, whenever we have fractions when it comes to slope, it's not a bad thing. It's, if anything, it's just the same thing as having a whole number, right? So don't be afraid of fractions, okay? So let's go ahead and start off. So let's start off with our y-intercept. So let's go to our y-intercept. So we start at 0 and we're going to go down 3, right? So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, and boom, first point. Halfway done. Now we just got to find our next point, right? So if you guys recall, this is going to be our slope. So our slope is rise over run, right? So in this case, our slope is going to be negative 1 over 2, or 1 over negative 2. And I'm going to stress this or because when you have a negative in front of your slope, you need to make sure that you're either doing a negative on the top and a positive on the bottom, or you're going to do a positive on the top and a negative on the bottom. Okay, so I'll show you guys why that's important. But it pretty much has to do with if you had a negative on the top and a negative on the bottom, well then it's just a positive, right? So that's not actually a negative. So here we want to make sure we keep it negative. All right. So let's go ahead and graph this. So we start at our point again, and we're gonna do. Let's pick this first one. We're gonna go down 1. So our rise, instead of going up, we're gonna go down since it's a negative. And then since the bottom is positive, we're still gonna go to the right 2. Okay. So we're gonna go down 1 and to the right 2. So we'll go down 1, 1, 2. All right, and that's it. That's our next point. Now let's do the other case. Let's go up 1 and to the left 2. So we'll go up 1, 1, 2. And I know this doesn't look pretty good, but actually that's not too bad. So, but see here how in both cases it still stayed on the same line. Now let's see what would have happened if we would have said, let's say we did down 1 and then to the left 2, because a lot of times people, when they see the negative, they think that you have to go completely opposite of what is going on, right? So they think you have to do down and to the left instead of just one or the other. So let's see what happens if we do that. So if we were to go down 1 and to the left 2, 1, 2, well, you can see that this point right here wouldn't be on this line right here. So it's actually not not consistent, right? In this case, you would actually have a positive slope if you followed this trend line right here, which is not what we have, right? In this case, we have a negative slope. So just a little bit of stuff for you to think about, okay? So let me try to put this, man, I'm really bad at this. Let's see if I could, oh, I did too much. Okay, let's see if I could do this properly. Flipped my tablet, nope. Not gonna work like that. Whatever, you guys get the idea. Okay, let's do one more, just so you guys get the idea. So let's do it in the color purple. So let's try something, I don't know. Let's try to do something like if we had like this. Okay, so I have no idea, I just made this on the spot. I don't know how it's gonna look, but no matter what it is, it's not gonna be too bad, I'm pretty sure. So, you know what? Let's change this to a 2. Nah, it's okay, let's just do like a 3. Do not fear fractions, right? I should live by my own sayings. Okay, so so the first thing is that you notice that you don't have in slope-intercept forms, so you're not going to be able to use the tricks that I've been saying. So in order to use those tricks, you're going to have to solve for y first. So let's go ahead and start off by moving this 3x to this side right. So let's go ahead and move it over here. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, so then we got 2y is equal to negative 3x plus 2, right? And the last thing we need to do to isolate y would be to divide everything by 2. So, oh wow, it worked out anyways. Cool, not too bad. So we have y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 1. That's actually what I wanted to do, but I don't know why I got confused. But okay, it worked out anyways, so good. So now you can see that it is actually in our slope-intercept form, and we can actually use our trick. So let's go ahead and go to the positive 1. It so happens to be the same point as here. I didn't mean that, but oh well, it happens, right? So it's going to share the same intercept, and let's go ahead and plot the point. So it's a negative 3/2, so we're either going to go down 3 and to the right, or we're going to go 3 up to the left 2. So either way is fine. Let's just do both just in case. So we're going to go down 3, so 1, 2, 3, and to the right 2, 1, 2. So it's about right there. And then the other way would be up 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the left 2, 1, 2. And it'll be about right there. So you guys can see that it is a pretty good line, okay? And that's pretty much it. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. I tried to cover everything you need to know, so sometimes they'll give it to you in the general form, right? So it's okay if they do give it to you that, just solve for y. And that's pretty much it, alright? So let me know if you guys have any questions. Alright, see ya.